All right, so let's look at the third test passage. In 1896, a Georgia couple suing for damages in the accidental death of their 2-year-old was told that since the child had made no real economic contribution to the family, there was no liability for damages. In contrast, less than a century later, in 1979, parents of 3-year-old sued in New York for accidental death damages and won award of 7,50,000. So maybe over here, from this part, I can understand that there have been changes. Okay. I don't know why this is happening like this. Just give me one moment. Let me erase all the ink from this slide. Okay. From the first part, I can understand that there have been changes in how we are viewing the death of a child. Correct? There have been changes in how we are viewing the death of a child. And over here, what we see the transformation in the social values implicit in juxtaposing. Juxtaposing is what? It is comparing a contrast between the similar elements. Okay, these two incidents is the subject of Viviana Zelizer's excellent book, Pricing of the Priceless Child. During 19th century, she argues that the concept of useful child who contributed to the family economy gave way gradually to the present-day notion of useless child, who, though producing no income for and indeed extremely costly to the parents, is yet considered to be emotionally priceless. That means although the child is not giving any income, although okay, the child provides zero income, there is emotional attachment. Okay, so although the child is giving zero income, there is emotional attachment. Well established amongst the segments of middle and upper class by mid 1800s, and this new view of childhood spread throughout the society in late 19th century. Okay, and the early 20th century as reformers introduced child labor regulations and compulsory education laws, predicated in part on the assumption that child's emotional value made child labor taboo. Okay, so here we also see that this emotional value of a child has made child labor a taboo. Now, first, Eliezer, the origins of this transformation were many and complex. So, we could not identify exactly what is the origin of this transformation, but there are a lot of reasons for this, and they are complicated reasons. The gradual erosion of child's productive value in maturing industrial economy, the decline in birth and death rates, especially in child mortality, and the development of companionate families. So he has given us three reasons over here. Here they gave us three reasons for this change. Okay, were all factors critical in changing the assessment of children's worth. Yet expulsion of children from the cash nexus, that means the cash connection. Okay, although clearly shaped by profound changes in economic, occupational, and family structures, Jellizer maintains was also part of cultural process of sacralization of children's lives. Sacralization is making them sacred. Okay, attaching some kind of spiritual value to it. Okay, protecting children from the crass busyness world became enormously important for late 19th century middle class Americans. She suggested sacralization was a way of resisting what they perceived as the relentless corruption of human values by the marketplace. Okay, cool. So they thought that they are corrupting the human lives and human values. So they thought that children should be protected from it at least. In stressing the cultural determinants of a child's worth, Zelzer takes issue with practitioners of the new sociological economics. So all the worth of a child is now decided by sociological economics who have analyzed such traditionally sociological topics as crime, marriage, education, and health solely in terms of their economic determinants, allowing for a small role of cultural factors in the form of individual preferences. These sociologists tend to view all human behaviors as directed primarily by the principle of maximizing economic gain, and Jellizer is highly critical of this approach. So, can I say that this new approach, Zellizer does not like the New approach. Okay. All right. So as children become more valuable in emotional terms, she argues their exchange or surrender value on the market, that is the conversion of their intangible worth into cash terms, becomes much greater. Okay. That means the more we are able to, argue that the exchange or surrender value, that means if a child is gone, how much value should we be getting back for that child? That keeps increasing proportionally. All right, so let's have a look at the first question. It can be inferred from the passage that accidental death damage awards in America during 19th century tended to be based on the principle of uh, during 19th century ante idi kada 1800s. Yes, 1900s becomes 20th century. So in 19th century, it is going to be A. Okay, it's definitely not amount of suffering. This was emotional. Emotional did not come into place then. Amount of money that had been spent on the person killed, again, that was not talked about. So out of scope. Opposite. Degree of culpability of the party? No, death is death. What is degree of culpability? You have killed a person, you are equally culpable. Wealth of the party causing damage? Again, nowhere spoken, so out of scope. Earnings has been told. So A is the answer. Okay. All right.